Was the winning goal for Croatia as they beat Spain 3-2. Look what it means for the group. It is wide open. Huge game for England against Croatia at Wembley this Sunday. We'll talk about all the permutations, because there's quite a few, and how that works very shortly. First, Tim, everyone's had their say about the Wayne Rooney game beforehand. Having seen the game unfold, how do you think the FA handled the Wayne Rooney Foundation International?
I thought he did really well. You know, it wasn't a circus at all. You know, I think it was enough. It was enough credit for Wayne and an acknowledgement of what he's achieved over the years for England. I think there was just enough. It was a good night for his family. They're all there accompanying him, handshake with the current captain, Harry Kane. Yep. You know, I just think that it was handled very, very well. And Wayne and his family will be very pleased with the outcome.
Yeah, 53 goals, England's record goal scorer, of course. 120 caps as well. Only Peter Shilton with more. Craig, if anyone deserves this send-off for England, it's Wayne Rooney, isn't it?
No, yeah, of course. Of course. I just, honestly, it actually bored me with all the fuss.
Did it?
Yeah, it just, I had enough of it. I didn't even watch the game yesterday.
Because of that?
Yeah, I just thought, really, is this a deal? You know, where's this going? Like, yeah, he's your record goal scorer. You've got an opportunity to say thank you very much for your service to our, you know, for our nation. You have the right to do that. And I thought the supporters had the right to do that. And it just got turned over into something that, all right, it was against USA, but we know USA ain't strong at the moment. They're having big problems there. He's playing in America, so it just made perfect sense. I really found it difficult to see, well, where's the fussness? Other nations do it. All right, they might not do it to that impact, but Podolski, you know, like say, for instance, Spain, where David Silva just, because he was in Gran Canaria as well, where he's, you know, where he's from, he just, all he had to do was just kick the ball, you know, he started the game type of thing, and then it was done. But other nations choose to do it in different ways, but I didn't see any fuss with it. Just get on with it. Stop making a big deal out of it about, and then ex-players then saying about, oh, giving caps away. Listen, it ain't making much of a difference, is it? Come on, guys, one more.
The only surprise was that Wayne never scored. You know, he got so close to it. Brad Guzan made a fantastic save down to his right hand, you know, but Wayne's been writing his scripts all his career. And I'm surprised that that one never come off. You know, it's the only surprise on the evening. But it was a good night for him, and it turned out a very good night for England. Yeah.
If Wales had offered you that chance, Craig, 79th cap, how would you react to that?
It's not my...
No?
No. All eyes on me, the attention and all.
Wouldn't have had that.
You know, it's not for me. Even when I was retiring, I made sure the last game was finished.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I'll say I'm retiring, because I just didn't want that attention of sort of like knowing it was my last, and people knowing and giving me a round of applause, knowing full well they didn't want to give it to me anyway. Yeah,
okay.
So, yeah.
Very honest.
I'm happy to go on my own terms. Yeah,
I'll buy that. Let's look at the results. England 3, USA 0. What do you think Southgate would have learned from that, Tim? Because a lot of young players, again, that he used, a lot of young players impressed. A lot that he could have taken, a lot of positives from that game.
Yeah, the two centre-backs, Keane and Dunk, did very well up against lesser opposition in the USA there. Thought Jadon Sancho done very well. He looked like a real spark, gets people off their seats, you know, and a lot of pressure on him last night because people want to see him for a long, long time. And he's proved that he's worthy of his call-up and he'll surely be given another opportunity. I thought Dele Alli was electric last night. I thought he was really good out of possession and in it. He looked really sharp, back to his best. Oxlade-Chamberlain, Alexander-Arnold, he was fantastic, you know, scored his first goal. You know, I thought he was lively down the sides. Yeah, I think it was a good exercise for Gareth, and I'm sure the team will change against Croatia. But I think they've got so much quality in that squad now and so much belief in their ability that they will beat Croatia. We owe them one.
Yeah, we do owe them one, that's very right. Talking about Jadon Sancho there, it's interesting, he's gone to Dortmund, very brave move for a young player going to play in the Bundesliga. Do you think Jadon Sancho would be playing for England now had he stayed at Man City?
Well, you look at Foden, who has got a little, you know, has got game time at Manchester City. But I don't know, Sancho's been special for a few years now, so anyone following, you know, youth football, Sancho's been, you know, the kid really, hasn't he? For, you know, from his time at Watford, everyone wanted him. Manchester City, of course, were able to go and get him. And just through his development then at Man City, you know, he was, like, people would ask me what position is he, because I watched him play a few times. I couldn't tell you. because he just picked it up anywhere, and he was
because he's that good.
He was able to do what he wanted. He was just different. He's
like Raheem for me.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in that ilk, you know, where he can play across the front. You know, picks up, he takes the ball at players, he leaves them on the ground. He's electrifying. You know, he can.
He's got a brain as well, and he's intelligent.
Yes. Yeah. Very good technician. Very good. And Craig's right. He's been a superstar for a long, long time. But so have a lot of other players, and they've fallen by the wayside. But so he needs to make sure he keeps his head right, keeps his feet on the floor, and realise that this is just a start. This is not the end. Just because he's played for England now, this is a start of a career which can go right to the top.
I think another young. Sorry, Craig.
I like that about. Even when he went back to Man City, like he wasn't. Obviously, there was a sort of a dispute with his contract, but then he wanted to be involved in the first team, and he didn't actually go on pre-season. He wanted to go, and it's difficult. You look at it, and you know, if you're looking at Pep Guardiola, you'd be like, "What do you mean you want to go? You've not even proved anything here, and now because you're not in my plans at this present moment, now you want to leave." Then I could also see Manchester City and Pep then saying, "Well, yeah, then he can go," but then he wanted to go Spurs. Spurs wanted him, but Manchester City never going to allow that to happen. No. So credit to him to then go. I think Germany with Dortmund, you know, with the Germans like how efficient they are, even, you know, with the things like his timekeeping, this and this. And I know he's got his father out there with him. I think it's a real good move for him.
Yeah, brave move.
It could be the making of him.
And with that said, Phil Foden, a lot of talk this week about Phil Foden and Man City. Do you think it's the best decision for him to stay at Man City, or would he look at Jadon Sancho starting for England, playing regularly, scoring regularly in the Bundesliga as maybe that's something that I could do? Yeah,
but it's, look, attacking players like more like free spirits. Like Sancho's, you can afford to put him high up the pitch and, you know, final third, let him go and do what he wants, let him go and create. Sometimes midfielders, at a very young age, that responsibility, you know, you'd find as well as Tim, you got better as you went along, didn't you? Positioning and understanding the game.
It's a more responsible position. It's more responsible position, Phil Foden plays.
But I believe he is getting game time at Man City. He's still very, very young. He's learning off some incredible players there. The best manager I've seen. So it just makes sense that he stays where he is. He's in good hands. If he gets the opportunity then to develop and go out on loan to a very, very good football club, while he's going to definitely go and get his game time then, and then come back and take over David Silva's places and, you know, one or two of those. I see that making sense.
At the moment, it's really worked for Jadon. Yeah. Going out there, it's worked this season. A lot of the times you have to, and Craig will know this, and coming through with development players, you have to make sure they get the patience, pick the right time, because sometimes they can jump into it. Like Jadon could have jumped into it. I want to leave. He could have gone to Dortmund and never played. He comes back, ends up in the Championship or League One. That happens. Even talented players like that. You know, when you hear people say if they're good enough, they'll make it in the end, it's nonsense. It's about the pathways and the games programme, what they're given. And for Jadon, it's worked at the moment. For Phil, I believe, you're with the best man. Pep Guardiola is the best man for your development. You're at a fantastic football club with fantastic players. You will get the opportunity. It needs to come next season. Yeah. It needs to come next season. This year, you can keep dipping your toe in the water, getting that experience, training with the best. Next year, you need to play. Otherwise, you need to go out and play. Not necessarily on a permanent move, but maybe on a loan.
No, I don't see it being. I don't see it being a permanent move. But you're right. I think next year, if he isn't going to get in or really force even more game time than what he got this year, then it'd be a good decision for him to go out on loan. Just go and get that, you know, get used to playing week in, week out, get used to making mistakes, get used to having bad games, because there it comes. But that comes with a young player, inexperience, trying to make the grade, trying to get into the game. You know, form will... It happens to all of us. Listen, I had more, like when I was making my debut, like my first year in football, I played centre midfield, scored 13 goals.
That's not bad.
No, but I was awful. Yeah, that's all I'd done.
Right.
Don't forget, it was loads. I must have cost the team about 50 goals.
You cost them more than you scored.
By not understanding, but I learned so much about the game, and not even... There was times probably I could have done with being rested or being pulled out because I wasn't playing particularly well, but because they had very few players at that time, they were sort of forced to play me. But I learned so much by then, and it gave me the drive to want to be better, and also again to play against, you know, I remember like playing against Jeff Thomas, say for instance, and it's just his timing of runs and when to go. And 1 minute he didn't make many runs, and then I thought he weren't going anywhere. And by then, turn my head, and he's already gone, scored into the box. So it was my fault, but it was just you learn best when you're playing and you're exposed to that environment.
Yeah. Let's look our attention to Sunday, Tim. You said they're very confident. You think England will beat Croatia. Third big game against Croatia this year. They've just beaten Spain. Why are you so confident?
I think we have better players than Croatia, I honestly do. And I think we have the belief now. I thought we outplayed them in the first half in the game when they actually turned us over in the end. But I think Luka Modric took hold of that game and took it away from us. We will do something about him at the weekend. England have better players. They've had a nice rest. They've had a good long week now together. I believe that we have enough firepower to cause them a massive amount of problems, and I believe we have the defenders now to take care of what they've got to throw at us. Rakitic will be missing.
Yeah, Rakitic is out, announced today. That's a big loss for them, isn't it?
It is a big loss. He's one of their big players. So, no, I've got real faith in this squad of players. I really believe that they're playing with a nice identity now. Gareth's trusting them with the ball. They're brave on it. They're moving it around. They're all loving it. They all want to turn up for international appearances, which goes against some of the nations we spoke about earlier. They all want to get a cap. They all want to play in the big games, and this is a real big game. You know, this is a game which...
Yeah, it's the groups, isn't it? Yeah, for the Nations League. You look at this one, this is the real...
Yeah, and we owe them one. Yeah, we owe them one.
Yeah, we do.
You know, they was...
Well, here are the permutations, Tim. I know that you were eager to look at the permutations before the show. All three teams can still win the group. England or Croatia will reach the Nations League final with a win. England will be relegated, interestingly, if they lose or if it's a score draw. Croatia, however, will be relegated if they lose or if it's a goalless draw. Spain will reach the finals if England-Croatia is drawn, and Spain cannot be relegated. Does that all make sense, Tim?
All makes sense, because the only one what's going to happen is England are going to beat Croatia and we're going to win the group, and Spain are going to finish second, and unfortunately Croatia are going to get relegated.
Well said. Well said.
Very English of you, that.
Very honest.
Craig, get your thoughts on Southgate. We spoke earlier in the show about Ryan Giggs and youth and what he's bringing through. It's very similar, the identity of what Gareth Southgate's doing with England, isn't it? Yeah. Really giving youth a chance, and he's benefiting from that. No,
of course, but I think the advantages of working with the under-21s as well, so he's been able to closely have a look at the players coming through, and I'm sure he would have had a look at younger ones as well who would have been looking to come into the 21s. So he's fully, he's been involved in the setup with the English FA for a number of years now, and it made sense for him to take the job. And to be fair to him, he's been true to his word. He's looked to bring in young players. You're right, they do have an identity. I think the World Cup couldn't have gone any better for them, but also I believe the teams they faced during it you couldn't have had a better. I believe any England team over the number of years and gone in any tournament would have got to a semi-final. No matter how they played, they would have still got there.
You think?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. You have Sweden in the quarter-final.
Agree, Tim?
No, I think the games fell very well, but I don't think it... I said at the beginning of the tournament that I honestly believed that we would come away feeling very optimistic about the future of English football, and we did. And it was not only about the results for me. I mean, to the man in the street, possibly. He would have said, well, it's only about results. Yeah, we got to the semi-final, we must have done well. For me, it was all about the performance and the younger players coming through it, and how our manager wants us to go forward and how he wants us to play with that identity, and I think it's the way forward.
But it was the stumbling block I had in the semis, because I thought you got put under pressure there. You got stopped where you weren't allowed... Like, against the teams you were playing, you were allowed a lot of the ball. Sweden ain't going to come out and press. They're going to lay you off the ball, and they're going to look to counter-attack, or they're going to look to try and beat you on a set-piece. So it was great for England to keep their identity. But can you have an identity when you're getting pressed high? Can you have identity when you're under pressure? And I thought England lost their way big time in that. I thought in the semi-final they lost their identity.
In the first half they were cool, and I think Harry Kane had a great chance to make it 2-0, and then it's a completely different game in the second half. I think the ball went through into Modric. He took control of the game. Took control of the game, and he let them push forward, you know, and their fullbacks pushed our wide men back, and they started playing in our final third. It was a real problem for us.
Yeah, it's a big game.
Optimism, sorry, Mike, going back to you, optimism. England in good hands. England, and they got good players coming through.